joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 2, Episode 4, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
So, I have for you a little treat, okay? Now, I don't know if you know this, but I feel like you do know this about me, which is that I don't like zombies. I am scared of zombies. I've gotten a lot better in recent times, but like I don't know if I could watch like Day of the Dead. I can't watch The Walking Dead. I've seen Day of the Dead once. Don't want to watch it again. I don't like fast zombies. I like horror comedy stuff. So like I can watch the Cornetto trilogy one. What was that? It's like
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. I can watch Shaun of the Dead. I love Zombieland and the Zombieland sequel. But even then, I have to kind of be in the mood for it because the zombie effects in those are really, really, really good. But zombies are like one of my core fears. So I thought what would be fun, because one of the things that absolutely terrifies me is the possibility that that could actually happen, right? The distant possibility. So I feel like the closest thing realistically and scientifically is bath salt zombies. So I found a page that has all this information on people actually being zombies, and that's what I'm going to read to you right now. Okay? So, tactics for dealing with attackers who are exhibiting zombie behavior as a result of designer drug intoxication are mostly the same as dealing with fast or infected zombies. They have the same physical vulnerabilities as humans, can die of blood loss and organ failure and spinal injury. However, acute synthetic drug intoxication produces symptoms not found in the infected, such as superhuman strength and extreme body temperature. In several cases documented by police, individuals under the influence of bath salts have torn car doors off their hinges, driven their fists, legs, or heads through sturdy wooden fences, and jumped through double-pane windows without breaking stride. In many cases, bath salt users are able to fight off as many as 5 police officers even after being tased. They are impervious to pain, sometimes even mutilating themselves for no apparent reason. In one case, throwing their own intestines at police.
Ugh.
Their high body temperature is a disadvantage, however, as it often makes them take off their clothes. So, like, the picture that's being painted is like, I'm just picturing a dude fucking running through glass fences, completely unstopped by 5 cops, even after being tased with who knows how much electricity, if it's 5 police officers and you're being tased by multiple police officers potentially. And then your guts are hanging out and you choose to throw them at the police like it's an offensive weapon. Like, that is so scary. Like, that's terrifying. Because I did look at stuff like the cordyceps from The Last of Us, but currently science still maintains that that's, touch wood, not really a realistic risk. There's other fungi that are kind of a risk, but our immune systems are wired in such a way, and the fungi are wired in such a way that the genetic and evolutionary leaps that would be necessary are still pretty far-fetched for something like that, which, like, thank God, because I would never sleep again. I feel like vampires, I would be more likely to come out okay than an actual zombie apocalypse. Like, unless I have, like, magical powers.
Yeah.
And I can control the dead, I would not be mentally stable, like, at all. Like, at all. I would not be doing a good job.
No. I don't think a lot of people would. I think that's normal.
Yeah, but I just think so many people like casually talk about zombie apocalypses, and they have these casual plans of how they would be fine and all these different like skill sets that they have, and I'm just gonna put it out there, I would not be all right.
I did that once. I had like a whole thing where I was like, well, I'll do this, this, and this, but I don't think I'd actually be able to.
Yeah. Carly and I also pointed out that I think she pointed it out to me that as people who can't digest gluten at all, and the fact that we would just have to, like, and having so many food allergies, the fact that we would just have to eat whatever was around because food would probably be scarce, we'd just be ruined. Like, we would be totally ruined. Everyone with a food allergy is out from, like, day one. We're so screwed.
I suppose you wouldn't have a lot of people making bread or anything though, so
Yeah.
once the bread runs out, you wouldn't have to eat it.
Oh, that bread is the biggest dilemma. My other kind of like slightly out of context remark that I wanted to put in the preamble was the actor who plays Neil.
Mhm.
My honest reaction to him was that he looks kind of bland, right, in this episode. Like he's made to look sort of like the friend zone dude, right?
Mhm.
Um and I have a thought about, like, who he looks like, the Wish version of who he looks like, but I'm gonna save that for the actual podcast part of the podcast.
Okay.
However, I accidentally saw his IMDb profile photo from these days, and he's a fucking smoke show right now. Like,
I'm gonna have to
he's
look this up.
so hot. He's unbelievably hot. Like, the guy who plays Matt, he was hot to begin with. He's still hot now. Like, I think he's also aged super well. But Neil, oh my god. I
Wait,
was
I'm gonna have
not
to look
expecting that. Yeah, you need
because
to look.
I don't believe you. Hang on.
Honestly, everyone needs to look.
We'll put a link
Neil's
in our
hot.
show notes.
Yeah, we do need to put a link in our show notes so you guys can check him out for yourselves.
He
But
does look
wow,
different to. He
he
has different hair.
looks so different.
Let me see if there's any other pictures. I'm still not convinced myself, but he does look better than in this episode.
She's like, well, he it's an improvement.
Yeah, he definitely had a bit of a glow up.
Oh, thanks, Laura.
My preamble stuff was this the episode that you thought it was? Because
No, Jared. Oh,
you confused
Jared.
me. Because
Jared
before
confused me.
you told me it was a creepy children episode, and I braced myself for it, but then it wasn't.
No. It's a zombie episode. Okay, so, he said in his interview, which I have up on a reel on our page of their scariest things. So I put up 2 reels that was like both Jensen and Jared talking about their favorite scariest episodes. He thought that he was talking about the Changelings episode, which is The Kids Are All Right. That's in the next season. I think it's like episode 9 in the next season, and it is so freaky, and you will die. It's gonna be great.
Changelings.
Fingers crossed, you can like come and watch that at my house as well, like what we did with clowns. Because it's gonna be really entertaining. Yeah, no, that's a great episode, and I can see why he picked it. But he misspoke, and he said that it was this one, which is Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, which, like, as an episode title, I can see why he would get it mixed up. There are no children in this episode, full stop.
No, that's what I've written that down as well. I was like, I don't understand the title because
no, it's
unless
a weird
the children are like the college students, but they're adults. But I did.
Yeah,
that does actually link to something I found on IMDb because I looked it up, and it is just a title of another movie. So they've just used that as inspiration. So it's
is it a Romero?
It says Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things from 1972 was the title of a 1972 zombie movie in which a group of actors, led by their director Alan, performs a black magic ritual on an island graveyard and causes the dead to rise and kill them all.
I mean, that just sounds like a terrible school project.
Yeah. Sounds like Lord of the Flies, but zombies.
Yeah, it does. It does. That's hilarious. So, like, I found some funny movie references and some interesting bits and pieces, but I'm interested to see like which ones you have. We obviously have Stephen King references in this episode.
Yeah.
Like, so they're staying steady with that. Yeah.
I wasn't a massive fan of this episode, to be honest. I think it was all right, but in comparison to like all the other episodes.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite the same. But I think I was trying to work out, once I watched it, I was like, why? Why do I not like this one as much? And I think there was plot holes that I had an issue with. There were
Mhm.
really convenient things that happened again, and some of the acting wasn't the best. So, and those things all combined, I was just like, no, if it was one or the other
Is
of those
this your
things,
Phantom Traveler, do you think, for this season?
well, yeah, but we're only like what, 4 in, but
No,
yeah,
I make a guess. Make a guess.
yeah,
Make a prediction.
I think it probably will be
Yeah.
one of my least favorites.
So I think you're going to be shocked because I have mixed feelings about this episode. I kind of like it, but like also I found it so scary the first time that I watched this episode because again, zombies are my Achilles heel.
Zombies, yeah.
I think I've only seen it once. I think it's one of those ones where I've watched it once and went, never again, like I did with the Benders. Um, I do still think that it's scary and freaky and stuff but I don't know how much of that is my weakness of it being zombies. Like if I watched it and I
Mhm.
wasn't scared of zombies, I don't know. I can't say. I think the effects were pretty good. There were some jump scares, but I don't know. I'm really curious to hear your takedown of
Yeah.
different scenes and like what you really didn't like
I love
because
zombie stuff as well. I love zombie stuff. So
oh, maybe that's
I
why.
was expecting to like it. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do the synopsis and we'll dive in then?
Yeah. So this is season 2, episode 4, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. The original air date for this episode was October 19th, 2006. While visiting their mother's grave, Sam and Dean find a case. Dean notices a grave with dead trees and dead grass all around it and finds out it belongs to Angela, a college student who died recently in a car crash. Upon investigation, they realise Angela has been brought back to life by her friend Neil and is now a revenge-seeking zombie, killing those who had recently wronged her. They decide the only way to stop her is to kill her again by nailing her back into her coffin, so they set up a fake ritual to lure her to the cemetery to do this. At the end of the episode, Dean and Sam have an emotional conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, my first note for scene 1 was Matt doesn't know when to back off, and so Angela dies.
Yeah, yeah. My first note was before that, though, because my first note was that Neil gives me the ick.
He did. He kind of gave me the ick on the first rewatch. Like I didn't remember this episode at all.
It was like that whole
Until
like friend zone thing, but like
yeah.
I don't know. He just you could just tell that he obviously likes her more. But then I have to say, there's a bit where she like grabs his hand and is like caressing it, and I was like, well, I think you know what you're doing there.
Yeah, there's an underlying toxic kind of dynamic maybe that's happening.
Well, I mean, he turns out to be a massive creep, so
Yeah.
my spidey senses were correct.
So with Neil, I feel like he's one of these characters where it's like he's a piss take of the air quotes nice guy friend. Because I feel like every girl has had an experience where you have like the nice guy friend and then it ends up being some low key or high key pink horror situation for you later on down the line where you realize he never really wanted to be your friend. He always wanted to get in your pants, so he pretended to be your friend. And Neil kind of gives that vibe, right? Like
Yeah.
he won't let Angela rest in peace. He's so sure that he deserves her and that she would love him, that he literally brings her back from the dead. And we don't know if she has free will with what he's done. Like, it's never really explained if her deciding that she loves him when she never did in life, from what I saw anyway, if that's part of his necromancy. Or if dead Angela has decided that she loves him. I don't know.
I thought
It's
she was
not
just
really made
lying.
clear.
I thought she was just lying so that she can kill people.
Manipulate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know. Like I like Angela. I like Angela's character. Angela got done really wrong, and she went out slaughtering the people who wronged her, and I could get behind that. Um, that's one of the things that I find the most satisfying is, like, I'm gonna call it vengeance porn, where you're watching a horror movie and it's brutal, but you love it and you get so much satisfaction and release from it because it's the revenge fantasy that you have, right? Like, people wrong you, they hurt you, they do terrible things to you. And it can be really satisfying to watch a character kick back against that. Um, so I thought it was really satisfying to watch this girl who's been like treated like an object by so many people in her life come back. It's kind of a little bit Jennifer's Body in some ways.
Hmm.
She comes back, she takes control, and she gets revenge on the people who hurt her and acted badly towards her. I feel like it would have been stronger if she hadn't have said, "But I loved you," when she like breaks Neil's neck. But you know,
Yeah.
aside from that,
Yeah, I didn't really like that. It wasn't I don't know if it was the character or just how I don't know. I didn't think she was a very good zombie. And I don't know if it was acting choices or writing choices or I don't know. I didn't really like it.
you did not like the Angela zombie.
No.
Was she too human for you and not zombie enough?
I think she was too I don't really know. She wasn't yeah, I think that is what it is because she was just like screaming like ah
Yeah.
instead of being a scary zombie.
Oh, our the differences in our notes for this episode are going to be hilarious. Like, so in the opening scene, Neil is trying to comfort a really upset Angela, and he says, "We've got booze, we've got chocolate, and wait for it, tortured emo rock, guaranteed cure for any broken heart." And I laughed because it dates it so
Yeah.
bad when he says that. And they have this conversation, and you can tell that he's the friend zone guy basically. Um but there's a weird vibe. It's a really unsettling episode from the start,
Mhm.
and there aren't a lot of likable characters in this episode. I
No.
think that might be one of
Agree.
the things that's kind of off-putting about it. Um so then there's this smashing pounding at the door. And it's her boyfriend. And Neil says, "I'll take care of it." And he goes to open the door, and you see this huge, like, football player type dude. And I was thinking, this guy does not have a chance stopping this man from coming inside. And Matt goes, "Where is she?" And Neil's like, "Let's just chill and think about this." And he's like, "I need to talk to her." And Neil's like, "Some other time." And he's like, "Get out of my face, Neil." And honestly, that part was pretty funny. And then he shoves him.
It's his house.
It was it was so funny to me.
Yeah.
Because of the way the line was delivered, and it just kind of put it in that like college comedy sort of genre for me. It's giving me kind of like American Pie vibes, honestly. So he goes storming in, but Angela's left because she doesn't want to see him. Because what we know that we as an audience don't know yet in the episode is that Matt was cheating on her with her BFF slash roommate.
Mhm.
So she's been like double
Classic.
betrayed. Yeah. Yeah. Matt's a total asshole. So Angela is driving down this long, spooky, foggy road. And I was writing, this is why we don't drive and talk on the phone, and also don't drive when you're all fucked up. Because she answers a phone call from Matt, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she's laughing. She's like, "Whatever. That's great. Fantastic." And he's like, "Listen to me." And she's like, "I don't want to listen to you. I'm done listening to you." And then he's like, "Listen to me." And then she says, "No, I love you." And I was just like, are you what? Where is your self-respect, woman? So, but
Mm-mm.
she's upset and she's feeling her feelings. Again, you should not be driving and talking on the phone. It's just
No.
stupid.
Do you
So
know, I
then,
think I mentioned, didn't I, about my pet peeve? I was just like, watch the road.
road.
Why are you on your
Yeah.
phone? I hate it.
It,
I hate it when they do that in
it
shows.
well, the thing is like people do it in real life, and it is needlessly stupid, and it is
Yeah, it's stupid.
it is one of my biggest pet peeves in the world. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many studies that show that it's as bad or worse than drunk driving. Like, it's so dangerous. So you just don't need to. Um, so then she crashes because Kel's surprise. Like, of course she
Yeah.
does.
Obs.
Yeah, exactly. And everything is smashed up. So blood's dripping on the phone. There's fog and wind coming through the broken glass because her windscreen's been smashed in. And then the camera pans up and we see Angela is super fucking dead. Okay. There's blood coming out of her head and her mouth, and her eyes are just staring at nothing. And then we hear Matt's voice on the phone going, Angela, Angela. And I put 8.5 on the creepometer because I feel like this scene is actually really, like, that part is so scary. It's such a good scare.
So Sam and Dean are driving and they're on the way to visit their mum's grave. Dean says it's stupid as there's not even a body there anyway, as there was no body left after the fire. And I was like, hang on a minute. What? That's not usual. So how? I was like, what? There was no body. I know it was a
Yeah.
fire, but there'd be something left behind. So like how? I don't know.
Also, it was on this
that's
ceiling.
giving me
How did the
questions.
fire department explain, like, what happened with that? I just, if they would have said there was, I don't know. Like, it's spooky in the moment, but it's there's something just a little bit left field about it, you know? And I don't know if,
No,
like, no offense to her, but this episode was written by Ray L. Tucker. And, like, it does not have a John Sheehan feel to it, and it does not have a Kripke feel to it. It just kind of doesn't. It doesn't 100%, like, it's an okay episode, but it doesn't live up to the standards that we've seen from other writers, in my honest opinion.
Well, I don't know. As a first-time watcher, it's raised some questions for me, and I'm like, am I focusing too much on something that doesn't mean anything? I'm like, how there must have been some bones. If I had been like John in that situation and I hadn't found any remains, I'd be like, well, how do we know what's happened to her?
Yeah, no, I this is the thing though, is like, having watched the series and then just rewatched season 1, I feel like that sort of conflicts with what we've heard in season 1, and I understand why it's there because I feel like it's a good creepy line, but I think that it takes us away from it because when you start thinking about it, it feels like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's kind of a nonsensical line. I just think it's poor writing.
Okay. So Dean says they should have gone to the roadhouse instead and find out if there's been any leads on the demon. And I felt like Sam was trying to get rid of Dean here because he was like, yeah, okay, you should go, drop me off, and then I'll meet you there later. And I was like, is it because he didn't want Dean to see him burying the dog tags? Like, why he was trying to get rid of him?
I felt like he was trying to not force Dean to do something that he didn't want to do, but I felt like I don't know. I don't think he was trying to get rid of him. I think he was trying to invite Dean to process his feelings with him, but then when he didn't want to, like last episode, he got punched in the face. He was like trying to force stuff, and he got punched in the face. And I feel like this time he's like, I don't want that. I don't want to get decked. So
that is true.
Yeah. And then I wrote, this is peak antisocial Dean, because he says, right, stuck with those people making awkward small talk until you show up. No, thank you. And I thought that was really, really funny. And then I wrote down, Dean's scared of Joe. Lol. Because Joe gave him such a hard time, but she was so right. She read him for filth, and I actually think he's genuinely intimidated by her, which is amazing. So I loved that part.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Sam burying John's dog tags at Mary's grave, and I bet he's looking cute and upset.
He does. He looks so handsome, but so sad.
Yeah, it's cute. And I just wrote, Dean won't go over there. He's wandering around the graveyard instead and sees a dead tree. And I have a fun fact about that dead tree. Would you like to hear it?
I would.
This is just from IMDb, as most of my fun facts are.
Yeah.
The crew of Supernatural inherited the dead tree, seen in the cemetery in season 2's episode Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, from The Exorcism of Emily Rose from 2005. It's also the same dead tree that played prominently in the season 1 episode Scarecrow.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
My notes for this scene say Sam is crying at the grave, meanwhile Dean is walking away because feelings. Ew.
Yeah.
And then I put, so he notices this grave that's all fucked up.
Like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
I do have a flag about the tree as well, though, because so there's like some creepy, dramatic, like horror movie music, and he's walking over to this tree, and then he knocks on it, and it sounds like he's knocking on a door.
Yeah.
I wrote, no trees sound like that unless they're maybe completely hollow. It's either a little flag for the Foley team or perhaps the props, depending on if it was actually a hollow tree or if it was just the sound added later.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. I wrote down Dean clocking cursed graves is hot. His thinking face is a thirst trap.
His thinking face.
And then I wrote down a perfect circle of dead grass. Ooh, scary. Because
it was like a crop circle.
Yeah, I really resented the way that they did it. It looked like somebody took like brown spray paint or something and just did this like flawless circle of air quotes dead grass with a dead tree. I don't know. It was trying too hard. It was trying too hard, and it
does annoy me when they do that as well, because it's like when they dig perfectly rectangle holes, which they do again to this episode as well for coffin, when they're digging up coffins.
See, that I never notice because that's how it always is on TV, so I don't even register that that's weird. But
yeah, when it's purposely dug for the actual funeral.
Yeah. No, I mean, it probably shouldn't be a perfect rectangle, but I don't know. I never notice that. It's always you that points that out to me, and then I go, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." But yeah, so Dean realizes that there's something like weird about this. And he goes to Sam and he starts talking about it, and he says that she was a student at the local college and the funeral was 3 days ago. And Sam's like, and Dean's like, and you saw her grave. Everything dead around it in a perfect circle. You don't think that's a little weird? And like, I understand that's the line, guys, but the way that you literally did it, and then just literally threw some dead flowers, dead center. There wasn't even a fucking headstone. I
just had like a temporary grave marker thing.
It was so weird. Who was drunk that day in props? That's what I want to know. Anyway, so then Sam says maybe the groundskeeper went a little aggro with the pesticide.
That made me laugh. I was like, what?
What?
He does say things in a really funny way sometimes.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
It's orbing like crazy.
It's orbing like crazy. It's one of my favorite ones. Yeah. So Dean's like, no, I asked around about it, and that's not what happened, basically, to just sum up this conversation. And then he's like, oh, maybe it's unholy ground. And Sam's like, what the fuck, bro? Like, this whole conversation, Sam's looking at Dean like he's absolutely insane. And Dean's like, what? It can happen. Evil things happen. He's like, if something evil happened there, it could easily poison the ground. Remember the farm outside of Cedar Rapids? And Sam's like, yeah, but I have a little Easter egg for you guys, because I knew that this was a Rael episode and not like a air quotes normal episode. So I wasn't really sure what I was going to find in terms of Easter eggs, but I did find that Cedar Rapids has a lot of weird shit going on around it. And I actually did find a haunted farm just outside of Cedar Rapids as an Easter egg. So this is Iron Hill, which is more or less inside of Cedar Falls. It's like a 44-minute drive from it. And it says, in these woods behind the old white farm, there have been sightings of a little girl dressed in white. Also, various girls have been hurt. And I thought it was cool because Angela is wearing her funeral costume. Mm-hmm. She's basically just wearing a white dress. It says also various girls have been hurt. Around Halloween, you can hear them faintly chanting something that sounds like Ring around the rosy. And then just something you can't quite hear. And then, do you want to come and burn with me? Because apparently in the 20s, there was an accident and a fire, and several people lost their lives, which is very sad. But the haunting is terrifying. Like seeing girls in white and then hearing a song asking you if
Yeah.
you want to die and burn together with them. No, I will pass. I will pass on that, ghost girls. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
no thanks.
That's
Yeah, that's
a
scary.
hard pass for me. Okay? Hard pass.
Same.
Yeah. So my notes for the rest of the scene basically say Sam argues with Dean about feelings.
Yeah.
So Sam's arguing with Dean about this, and Dean's saying it could be the sign of a demonic presence or Angela's spirit if it's powerful enough. And Sam's like, well, and he just doesn't seem very convinced. And he thinks that it's a little too
No.
coincidental. And Sam's like, "Are you sure this is about a hunt and not about something else?" And Dean's like, "What else would it be about?" And then Sam just sighs and he's like, just forget about it." And Dean says, he's so emo, I love it. Dean says, "You believe what you want, Sam, but I let you drag my ass out here. The least we can do is check this out." And he's like, "Yeah, fine." You know what I mean? Like he's like full emo Sam. It's great.
I was just like, feel your feelings, Dean.
I know, right? So then we cut and it's the school. And Sam and Dean are going to see Angela's dad.
I think he's a professor, isn't he?
He is a professor, yeah.
They pretend to be friends of Angela's, and he lets them in and shows them like childhood pictures and stuff. There was a little exchange here between Sam and Dean, and they had like little glares at each other, which I thought was funny. But I haven't got the dialogue or anything for that bit. You got that in the script?
I have the dialogue, but the dialogue doesn't really have anything to do with what they're doing with their. Well, it kind of does. So basically, Dean starts pushing, and Sam's not a fan. And I wrote down Sam's face is amazing. Dean is digging, and Sam's eyebrows go from sympathy to Dean, what the actual fuck, so fast. And then I said I never realized he's the original Amelia Clarke of eyebrow acting before. Because there's so much eyebrow acting that he's doing in this scene. It's great.
Eyebrow acting.
Awesome. So basically, they go in, they have a little bit of a conversation. Dean sees a book on a bookshelf that has some weird writing in it. He's like, "Oh, this looks occult." And he's like, "This is an unusual book." And this is where the beginning of Sam giving him weird looks start. Sam's like, "What?" And he explains, like Dr. Mason explains that it's his book and he teaches ancient Greek. And so then Dean is talking to him and he says it's got to be hard losing someone like that. Sometimes it's like they're still around, almost like you can still sense their presence. And this is when Sam starts being like, "Dean, what are you doing?" And then Dean he's bulldozing over Sam's concerned faces. He's like, "Did you ever see anything like that?" And Dr. Mason says, "I do, as a matter of fact." And Sam giving Dean the absolute most evil look I have ever, like the shut your mouth look. So that's perfectly normal, Dr. Mason. And he says it kind of like a little bit of his rage filters into his voice, and then he calms himself. Yeah. He's like, "Don't make it weird." He says, "Especially with what you're going through." And Dr. Mason starts talking about his grief for his kid. And Sam's like, "Oh, we're very sorry." And he basically grabs Dean. It removes him from the situation. And it is great. It's so funny.
Sam's being the compassionate one.
He is being the compassionate one.
As usual.
Yeah. So we get to the hotel, which I said 10 out of 10. I would stay here. It's very pretty. And Sam and Dean are arguing. And I noticed that they did something interesting where there's a color divide between them. So all of Sam's coverage there's green in the background, but all of Dean's coverage is this really deep blue. So they're showing the division between the characters in a really cool kind of visual way. And it makes the argument A, really pretty, but B, kind of interesting and subtly gothic, I feel like, because they're showing us that there's a separation between them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
so Dean's basically saying, I'm telling you there's something going on here. And Sam says, Dean, so far you've got a patch of dead grass and nothing. I was like, oh, the gloves are off. Um, and Dean's annoyed, and he's like, well, something turned that grave into unholy ground. And Sam's like, there's no reason for it. She was fine. She was a nice girl. Like, just chill the fuck out. And Dean's like, maybe people don't know everything about her. Okay, Sam. Like, he's convinced there's some kind of hidden thing going on. And Sam's just like, you know what? We never should have bothered that poor man. We shouldn't even be here. And Dean's like, what do you mean? We're just gonna bail? And Sam's like, I think I know what's going on here. And it's the only reason why I went along with you this far. And he says, what are you talking about? And Sam says, this is about Mom's grave. And Dean's like, this has got nothing to do with that. And he says, you wouldn't step within 100 yards of it. Look, maybe you're imagining a hunt where there isn't one, so you don't have to think about Mom or Dad. And Dean gives him this look. And Sam says, you want to take another swing? Go ahead if it'll make you feel better. And I was like, oh. And then Dean's like, I don't need this crap. And then he grabs his jacket and his keys and he goes to leave. And he's like, Sam's like, where are you going? And he's like, I'm going to go drink alone.
Okay, Dean.
Yeah. So we cut to Matt, who is also drinking alone, we think, watching videos of Angela.
Yeah, just watching like home movies. But he goes to get a beer, and when he comes back, the houseplant withers and dies, but he doesn't notice.
How did you feel about the dying plants? Did you think it was creepy, or were you like, eh?
No, I thought it was stupid.
Awesome.
It's just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I wrote down, Matt's watching videos of Angela. Oh, Matt is drinking alone while watching videos of his dead girlfriend who's dead because of his immoral actions. He's gonna die so hard. And I underlined so hard. So hard. He's gonna die so hard.
Yeah. And he does.
And he does. And he does. Because that's the scary movie rules. Okay? That's Scream. Okay? We know this, all right? He's drinking alone. He's sad. He's done some bad shit. That bad shit's gonna come around.
Yeah. So he pauses the TV and a ghostly figure appears in the screen, and he notices this and looks behind him, shocked, and then he screams and blood spatter appears on the TV screen. And I wrote, what did you think about this, Joy? As it seems like a similar effect that was in Shadow that you didn't like.
This one I actually thought was okay, because he sees the reflection in the TV and then he turns around and then we just hear him, I assume, choking on his own blood or something. Like, it's gruesome. And then blood sprays the TV over Angela's face and her face is smiling. And it's like the juxtaposition of the blood all over her. And we know that she just killed him. So that's probably also what she looks like right now in real life. So I was cool with that. I was like, oh, that's freaky. And then I wrote, good for you, girl. He was trash. Pretty trash.
So then we get Dean breaking into Angela's apartment. He looks at a photo of Angela, and in the reflection on the glass, we see someone come out of the room. So it's kind of like a repeat effect, because that's what happened before. Matt saw a reflection in the glass and turned around, and Dean does the same thing. And the girl, it's like the roommate's there, and the girl's like, who the hell are you? And runs back into the room, shouting that she's calling 911. And Dean shouts out that he's Angela's cousin, and he's being sent over to collect her stuff. And he gives her an alias. And I like his aliases, but I didn't get this one. I didn't get this reference, so I had to look it up. And IMDb says, the alias Dean uses when he introduces himself to Neil is Alan Stanwyck, which is the name of Tim Matheson's character in the Chevy Chase movie Fletch from 1985.
Oh, obscure.
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
I was too busy laughing so hard over Dean saying his name was Alan Stanwyck that I didn't get any further than that, because it was just one of the ones that just makes you laugh, because you look at Dean and you go, no.
Like, not an Alan.
Nope.
What was the one from the Benders? What does he call him? He's got a name in that as well, isn't he? That it was
I
you thought was
can't
funny.
remember, but I remember that it was hysterical. It's something like Steve or something. It's something that's just so outrageously not a Jensen Ackles / Dean Winchester appropriate name that it's hilarious.
Hang on, I gotta go back.
I'm pretty sure it's Steven.
Gregory.
Oh, Gregory. Yeah. Oh god, it's so ridiculous. It's great. I wrote down that Dean breaking and entering is a thirst trap to like no one's surprise. I thought that was super hot. And when she's like, I'm calling 911, I was like, good for you. Because like I know that Dean Winchester is very hot, okay? And I would probably hesitate a little bit before I said that because he's so good looking. But she's one of the few girls who like Dean Winchester is suddenly all up in her space, in a space where he's not supposed to be, and she's like, I'm calling the police. It's like good instincts, okay? Good instincts, because the rest of them are like, oh my god, hi, you're so pretty. Why are you in my house?
See, I think if a man broke into my house, I wouldn't notice if he was attractive or not. To start with, I'd be like, "Oh my god, there's a man in my house! Run away, hide, call the police."
I mean, that's a very normal, healthy response. You know, it shouldn't matter if they're pretty. You should just run and call the cops.
Yeah, but Dean's talking to her. He's trying to get some dirt on Angela, but she's just like, "Oh, she was so great," and starts crying again.
Yeah,
that
and
she
seems
also
so
says,
funny.
"Yeah," but she says she's also crying because Matt, who was Angela's boyfriend, killed himself last night as well, and says he cut his own throat. And I was like, "Oh no," she says he cut his own throat. Who does that? And I just said, "No one. No one does that. Why would that have been ruled a suicide?"
Yeah.
Why?
It's just it feels really unrealistic. Like, doesn't seem right. You know what I'm
No.
saying? And she also says that that Matt said that he was seeing Angela, like
Mm.
seeing her. Like she makes it very clear that Matt meant that he
Yeah.
was seeing her in real life.
So that wasn't the first time because I thought to start with, I thought that was the first time that he was seeing her when she killed him. So that was
Yeah.
interesting, knowing that he'd been seeing her a lot.
Yeah, it is really interesting.
That's actually really scary.
It is scary. So see, there's a good creep factor to this episode. It's not as scary as like Bloody Mary or the Benders. It's not up there, but it is creepy. It is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl then proceeds to lie to Dean's face. Okay, his beautiful, beautiful face. Because he says, were Angela and Matt a happy couple? Was there any reason why she would be angry with him? And Lindsay's like, no, of course not. Why do you ask? Because you're a whore, Lindsay.
She's lying.
She's lying to his face. Yeah. And then Dean asks her where Matt lives.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the motel. This is my favorite sequence in this whole episode.
This is hilarious.
Should we do note for note? Like, do you want to do your notes and then I'll do my notes? Because it's a really short scene. And I think we can fit everything in. But oh my god, it's hysterical.
Do you want me to go first or you go first?
You go first.
Well, I just wrote, Sam is watching porn in the motel, and he quickly switches it over when Dean comes in. This was hilarious. If I had to put money on which one of them would be most likely to watch porn while they're in a motel in the middle of a hunt, I would have said Dean, not Sam. And the way Dean can tell when he comes in is hilarious, and he's like, awkward. But it's really funny.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So there's a TV announcer that opens. Sam's sitting on the bed, right? And what we hear is, next on the Skin Channel, Casa Erotica 4, A Tale of Two Latin Beauties. It's exactly like that, okay? And then we just go, oh, what? And I wrote, Sam's about to be watching porn? And I'm dying laughing. I literally did do a spit take, okay? There are water drops. Like the ink is running over here because I really did. I was not expecting it. I totally forgot this scene existed. So then Dean goes to come in. So we just see the door opening and Sam guilt jumps, switches it off so fucking fast. Dean
Yeah.
walks in, takes in the scene, and Sam goes, "What?" And Dean just goes, "Awkward." Dean is so sarcastic to Sam. I'm dying right now.
It's
But
funny.
then, for the rest of the episode, Dean gives Sam shit. Where he makes these subtle little digs about this. And it is so brilliant. It's so funny. I can't. So in this scene, Dean reveals to Sam that he actually has something. He's so sarcastic. He's like, I was working on my
Yeah.
imaginary case.
Yeah.
Sam's like, yeah, and Dean goes,
Imaginary case.
yeah. He says, well, you were right. I didn't find much. And Sam's nodding like, oh yeah, this is what I expected. And then Dean goes, yeah, except Angela's boyfriend died last night, slit his own throat. But that's normal.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Oh, he was seeing Angela everywhere before he died. But I'm sure that's just me transferring my own feelings. And Sam's like, okay, I get it. Maybe there's something going on here. And Dean's like, maybe? Sam, I know how to do my job despite what you might think. And Sam's like, okay, we should check out the guy's apartment. And Dean's like, I just came from there, pile of dead plants, just like the cemetery. Hell, dead goldfish too. And Sam's like, so on holy ground? And Dean's like, maybe. I'm still not getting that powerful, angry spirit vibe from Angela. And then he picks up her diary that he stole from the house because he's a thief. Sam's like, you stole her diary? And he's shocked. He's just like, Dean, how could you? He's clutching his pearls. And Dean's like, yeah, Sam. And if anything, the girl's a little too nice. So Dean's decided that he's going to keep digging. He's going to try talking to more of the friends, and he's going to try to get the names. And Sam's like, do you know who any of these people are? And Sam's like, are you kidding me? I have her bestest friend in the whole wide world. And then we cut to Neil's house. Laura's just like, no Neil.
No. So they're posing as grief counselors, and they say they're checking up on him because of what happened to Matt to make sure that he's okay and he's not gonna do the same thing, basically. And I just put, this guy's not great at acting upset or distraught after his besties died. Basically says he doesn't care about Matt because he says, but if Matt killed himself, it wasn't because of grief, it was guilt. And then he reveals that he'd been cheating. She'd walked in on him with someone else.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make you laugh so hard because he reminded me, I finally figured out, this is where I was like, he's the wish version of someone. Who is he the wish version of? And I was like, oh my God. It's when he does this and he doesn't really display the right emotions.
Yeah.
It reminded me of American Psycho. And I went, holy fuck, he's the wish version of Christian Bale. And I was just like, oh my God. And then I was like, Dean Winchester, grief counselor, the poster child of unprocessed feelings. Dean is posing as a grief counselor. And I was laughing this entire time because Neil's like, I didn't realize the college employed grief counselors. And Dean goes, oh yeah, you talk, we listen. Or maybe throw in a little therapeutic collage, whatever jumpstarts the healing. And I am dead at this point. It's amazing. That was my favorite line from that entire scene. It was awesome. So, Neil basically says that Angela was really torn up about the affair, and that's why she crashed the car, and that he has to go to work. So, and then he's like, seriously, I'll be okay. And it's like, yeah, because you fucking did some dirty stuff, didn't you, Neil? Ugh. Didn't you, Neil? I wrote down, yeah, Neil, because you raised her from the dead to be your zombie bride.
Ugh, it's so creepy.
Yeah. Ugh. 10 out of 10 on the creep factor.
Yeah, but not good horror movie creepy, creepy man creepy.
But that is good horror movie creepy.
Is it? Or is it just real life creepy?
He's an actor, Laura. He's just a really good actor.
Yeah, men being creepy isn't
oh, no, sorry. So she means it's pink horror. That's what she's saying. It's pink horror. I thought you were trying to say that he's in real life, that he's a creepy dude, and I was like, why are you coming for him? He's just
I
doing
don't
a
know
good job.
him as a real person. I don't know him
That's
well
why I was
enough.
like, where is this coming from?
No, not him. They like just the fact that he's being a creepy man, and that's real life, not a horror
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. We're on the same page now. I was just confused. Okay.
So Dean says that finding out this new information makes the vengeful spirit thing make more sense. And Sam's like, so is it over now then if she's got her revenge? And Dean says they should burn the bones to make sure. And Sam's like, dude, there are no bones. She's only died last week. He says, there's going to be a ripe, rotting body in the coffin. And I was just like, ew.
Sam literally turns around and says, are you high?
Like, what bones?
It's just a dead girl.
Yeah.
That's just a dead girl.
Ugh.
That's not
that would be a cremation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And then Dean's like, since when are you afraid to get dirty? So that kind of made me laugh. He's just kind of like egging him on.
Yeah.
But Sam being like, are you high? Was
that was funny.
Sam was like, no, thank you. I do not subscribe to this idea. And then the next scene is them in the graveyard digging up Angela's grave.
A perfect rectangle.
It's another perfect rectangle. Here's the thing. I don't notice it because I find them digging super sexy. So I get so distracted. I'm too busy looking at them being hot. I'm looking at the rippling muscles and not at the shape on the ground. That's why. I'm a basic creature, okay? So they're digging up the grave, and then Dean turns to Sam and says, ladies first. And this is the third or fourth time in this series that Dean said that to him, and it's so funny. And Sam's all miserable, and he says, hold that. And like, as in the flashlights, so that he can see what he's doing to Dean. And he opens the coffin, but the coffin's empty. And we go, oh, fuck. And there's kind of a musical jump scare.
Yeah. I was like, good, because I didn't really want to see a dead body.
Yeah, same. The one that they did in Route 66 was so realistic and so disgusting.
Oh, yeah. So then we cut back to Neil, and he's going down into his basement where Angela is sitting. And she says she missed him and kisses him. And at first, because I hadn't watched this before, obviously, I thought maybe she'd like faked her own death. I didn't know what was going on. And then I was like, oh no, he must have brought her back to life, because she was definitely not interested in him, so she wouldn't be kissing him.
All right. Angela's very much serving me the Ring vibes, but hot and kind of psychotic. And then they make out, and I call him necrophilia Neil.
Because I was like, I knew that he was a creep. I knew it. And then I wrote, what, you can't have her in real life, so you have to reanimate her to make her love you. He gives incel vibes. And then I put, also, this kiss was rank. She's a corpse, mate. What's wrong with you?
That is an excellent point. Bleh, bleh.
Ew.
That's
it really
terrible.
creeped me out every time they kissed.
It also made me think of that line that Dean gives to that vampire chick in Dead Man's Blood, where he says, I usually draw the line at necrophilia, and we had a really good laugh about that.
Usually.
Neil did not draw the line.
Oh, yeah, I should have.
So it cuts to black, and then we're back at the graveyard, and Sam and Dean notice that there's an inscription on the inside of the coffin lid.
Yeah, and he says he's seen them before.
And Dean, I wrote down, Dean figures it out. Smart Dean equals thirst trap.
Well, he doesn't figure it out. He jumps to conclusions. Let's put it that way.
Hey! He remembers where he saw it. And he puts together that there's something freaky and weird and wrong going on. And that it has to do with ancient Greek and stuff and necromancy. So I'm giving him the points.
Yeah, but then he just goes and accuses her dad of bringing her back to life and traumatizing him even further.
In his defense, he doesn't know about Neil's connection as the TA. So he's the most likely suspect.
Yeah, I'm just saying he could have handled it a bit more delicately.
But like, dude, we know that Dean's version of dealing with his trauma is none of that. Not doing any of that at all. So the professor gets all the fallout.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah. Dean bangs on the professor's door and Sam's like, "Well, this is going to go really badly." And he goes, "Dean, take it easy, okay?" And then the Dr. Mason opens the door and he's like, "Oh, you're Angie's friends, right?" Like this innocent, sweet old man. And
Mm.
Sam's being so gentle and so nice. And Dean's like, "We need to talk." And Dean goes full aggressive. He starts accusing him and he's like, "Oh, you teach ancient Greek. Tell me, what are these?" And then he shows him he's copied the symbols down. And he says, "I don't understand. You said this had something to do with Angela." And Dean's like, "It does. Please just humor me, but like aggressively."
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Mason says they're part of an ancient Greek divination ritual. And Dean's like, "Used for necromancy, right?" And he says, "Yeah, that's right." And Dean says, "See, before we came here, we stopped at the library and did a little homework ourselves. Apparently, they use rituals like this one for communicating with the dead, even bringing corpses back to life. Full on zombie action." I wrote full on zombie action.
I wrote that down as well because it was funny.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite lines. And Dr. Mason's like, "Yeah, I mean, according to the legends, now what's all this about?" And Sam's watching Dr. Mason's face and reading what's going on. And he's starting to realize that this guy is not their guy. And that Dean is going to go hell for leather and isn't noticing anything. And Dean's
Mm-hmm.
like, "I think you know." And Sam's like, "Dean." And Dean says, "Look, I get it, okay? There are people that I would give anything to see again, but what gives you the right?" And he is full raging at this man. And Sam goes, "Dean." And Dr. Mason's like, "What are you talking about?" And Dean screams, "What's dead should stay dead." And I was like, that's good and spooky. I like that line. And Dr. Mason's shouting, and I also wrote down, "What's dead should stay dead." Oh, Dean, remember that time you died twice?
I was going to say that it does kind of make sense when you know, like, his little conversation at the end of the episode. But
Yeah.
yeah, but at the
In
time I
this
was just like,
moment,
yeah.
it's so funny though, because you're like, Dean, pot, kettle, black. So yeah, so he goes on to say that these creatures are vicious, they're not human anymore, they're violent. And then he says, "I mean, come on, haven't you even seen Pet Cemetery?" And I was like, Stephen King reference. Check.
Yay.
There it is. I love it so much. And then Dr. Mason says, "You're insane." And I'm like, yeah, that's fair at this point. He's pretty unhinged. And Dean's like, "Where is she?" And Dr. Mason's like, "Get out of my house." So he starts to call the police and Dean knocks the phone out of his hand and he's like, "I know you're hiding her somewhere. Where is she?" And Sam's like, "Okay, enough is enough. Dean, stop. That's
This
enough.
poor
Dean,
man.
look." And then he points out that all of this man's plants are alive, healthy, and well. And it can't be Dr. Mason. Sam apologizes to the doctor and then forces Dean to leave. And Dean is angry walking out in the next scene. And Sam's like, "What the hell is the matter with you, Dean?" And Dean's like, "Back off." And Sam said, "That man is innocent. He didn't deserve that." And Sam's kind of hot in these scenes when he's like aggressively standing up to Dean and Dean's being kind of a jerk. It's great.
Agree.
I love it. Sexy. But Dean's like a dog with a bone and he will not let this go. And Sam says, "No, you don't know what you're doing at all." Because the line before is like, "I know what I'm doing." Sam's like, "No, you don't at all. Dean, I don't scare easy, but man, you're scaring the crap out of me."
Me
And I was
too.
like, oh, yeah. And then Sam says, "You're lucky this turned out to be a real case because if it wasn't, you would have just found something else to kill." And Dean goes, "What?" And Sam says, "You're on edge, you're erratic, except for when you're hunting, because then you're downright scary. Your tail's spinning, man, and you refuse to talk about it, and you won't let me help you." And Dean's like, "I
Yeah.
can take care of myself, thanks." And I was like, can you? Are you? And Sam goes, "No, you can't. And you know what? You're the only one who thinks you should have to. You don't have to handle this on your own, Dean. No one can."
I wrote he is being downright scary. I agree with that, but he has very pretty eyes though.
He does have pretty eyes. He has such pretty eyes. Yeah, so then John's death gets brought up again. And Dean thinks it's leading up to that. And he's like, "If you bring up Dad's death one more time, I swear." And Sam says, "Stop, please, Dean, it's killing you." And he's like, "We've already lost Dad, we've lost Mom, I've lost Jessica, and now I'm going to lose you too." And then Dean says, "We better get out of here before the cops come." And Sam gives him this look like, "You better fucking acknowledge what I just said to you." And then Dean's like, "I hear you. Okay, yeah, I'm being an ass and I'm sorry, but right now we got a friggin' zombie running around and we need to figure out how to kill it." And Sam laughs. And he goes, "Our lives are weird, man."
I love that bit.
I love this so much. And he's like, "You're telling me. Come on." Our lives are weird, man.
I mean, they are. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. It's so true.
So we cut to Angela and Neil, and Angela's asking Neil what's wrong, and he says it's Matt, because he's obviously suspicious that she's killed him.
Yep.
And she says, he kind of says that to her, and she says, "Do you think I could really do something like that?" And I put, "Well, no, but you're not really you now, are you? Everyone knows a zombie isn't actually the same person as they were before." And then I wrote, then she literally mounts him and they have another gross dead person kiss.
Yep. I wrote down, basically, Neil's like, "Are you killing people?" And Angela's like, "No, look at me. I'm so pretty and so sweet. I'm the cutest zombie pride." And then she proceeds to gaslight and seduce him. I wrote, "She gas-deuces him."
Gas deuces. Oh, so the next scene, Sam and Dean are discussing like how to kill a zombie, and Dean mentions a headshot because I was like, well, yeah, obviously that's how you kill zombies. But Sam
Yeah.
is like, you've watched too many movies because there's too much information, too many legends about zombies and how to kill them. But I've only ever heard about, you destroy the brain. That's how you kill a zombie. And
Yeah.
all the other theories that they come up with, like in this episode, they sound like other monsters because they have, and they mentioned silver bullets at one point. Well, that's werewolves, isn't it? And then they have to like stake her at the end, and it's like, well, that's a vampire thing. So is zombie lore like mixed up
'Tis
with all the other
I,
monsters?
folklore lady. I went and I double checked, and I have to say they're actually all linked to this concept of revenants, like the idea of things that return from the dead, or things that
Okay.
are unholy and cursed. So the idea with the silver thing is silver is a purification thing in magic, and it's supposed to be super fucking powerful, right? So
Yeah.
its alchemical properties or magical properties, depending on which school of thought you're coming from, are perfect for putting down evil. And that's why silver
Uh,
gets used for different specific things. But it's one of the reasons why it's used for werewolves in folklore and mythologies. So this
mm,
isn't actually wrong. And another thing that they said that was cool in this scene is he says, "Dude, you've been watching way too many Romero flicks." So that's a reference to basically the guy who invented the zombie more or less in cinema
yeah.
as we know it. He's done so many seminal zombie movies. He's the reason why we think about zombies the way that we think about them.
So
Um,
is he like Night of the Living Dead and that lies in it?
yeah, yep. So I've put a link in my show notes that will take you to all of his stuff, and you can have a little flick through his influence over zombies and cinema. I thought it was a really
Mm-hmm.
fun and interesting read, so that's there for you.
Mm.
And then there's also a line in this scene where they're talking about how to kill zombies, and they say, it's Sam's line, and Sam says, "I mean, there's 100 different legends on The Walking Dead, but they all have different methods for killing them." And I was like, "Ooh, The Walking Dead. Do we think this is about Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or is this too soon?"
Yeah, no, it's been too soon.
But it's
He was,
funny though because then he ends
yeah,
up on The Walking Dead, doesn't
it's good
he?
that, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good
So I thought that was
little Easter
funny.
egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Dean's saying we got to figure out the person who brought her back, and Sam says, "Any ideas?" And he says, "I think if it's not her dad, it might be that guy Neil." And Sam goes, "Neil?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he crosses the room and picks up the diary. And Sam says, "How did you come up with that?" And Dean has a line right at the end where he says, "It's got unrequited ducky love written all over it," which is a reference to Pretty in Pink. And I wrote
Yeah.
down, Dean Winchester has watched Pretty in Pink because that's something that everyone should know and understand. Okay. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Also, I was like, Sam, it's pretty obvious. But Dean is like, well, also Neil is Professor Mason's TA, so he has access to all the same books and stuff. So he works with her dad.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, the next scene has the funniest line. So they go to Neil's house, and Dean says, "Neil, it's your grief counsellors. We've come to hug."
I wrote it down because I wanted to say it so badly, and I was like, Laura's
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
scoop this line. But it's fine. I'd already made my peace with it. I already knew you were gonna say it. But it's so good. They break and enter, which is hot. And then
Yeah.
Dean comes in and says that line. And then he says it like, "Hello, Neil, it's your grief counselors. We've come to hug." And I couldn't handle
So
it.
funny.
I laughed so hard. Like, you know, when you laugh so hard, your face hurts. Oh my God, it's so good. And then there's another line. There's another line where they're looking for him. So they talk about what weapons they have. And Sam's like, "Do you have silver bullets?" And Dean says, "Yeah, for sure." And then he talks about how many he has. And they're walking through the house and they realize there's an entrance to the basement. And Dean turns and looks at Sam and says, "Unless this is where he keeps his porn." Sam is just dead. Okay? He's just dead. He's never living it down. I'm living my best life. It's great. It's great. So they go down into it, and Dean says it sure looks like a zombie pen to me.
Zombie pen.
Yep. And then Dean has another line in this scene where they're looking around. They find the loose grate, and they're having this conversation. And Dean says, "Yeah, all right. She clipped Matt because he was cheating, right?" And Sam's like, "Yeah." And Dean looks at Sam and says, "Well, it takes two to, have hardcore sex."
Sam's face is so funny here because he's just like, "What? What did you just say?" It's like this is no time for jokes. That's what his face says.
I just can't. It was that combined with like, "Will you shut up about it?" And I thought it was amazing. I wrote down, "He's still riffing on Sam and I am thriving." This is the best. This is honestly, like, these sections are the best part of this whole episode. It's so funny.
It was funny.
Oh, I also had Sam is literally too tall to fit into this set, and that's a thirst trap. He said it's the puppy dog eyes mixed with the hunching down because he literally cannot fit inside the set.
Yeah. It was a very small basement.
It was small, and he's a very, very large man.
So then we cut to Lindsay's house, and she hears a noise outside and goes to the door, and there's nothing there. But when she turns around, we got a jump scare because Angela's there. This whole scene is my flag, basically.
Oh, do tell.
Well, I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fight scene. I thought it was just a bit, just wasn't very well done. I'll see what were my notes I had. So she grabs her by the hair. She's like, "Hi, Lindsay, I'm home." And I just put, I hate to say it, but I think there's some questionable acting in this episode. Because then Lindsay breaks free and runs screaming through the house. Angela grabs some massive scissors that have just appeared from nowhere and goes to stab Lindsay with them. Lindsay falls to the ground and then kicks Angela's leg out from under her, and she goes down. And I'm just like, this whole fight scene was really weird because Lindsay kind of disappears at one point and then she reappears. And I was like, surely the ghost or zombie should be the one doing that. Then she falls in a really unnatural way straight onto her back. And then when she kicks Angela, she falls really unnaturally too, with her hands at her side. She just falls with her hands at her side, not putting her hands out to break her fall. And yeah, I just thought the whole thing, I was just watching it going, it would have been scary if it had been like done properly. I was just I don't know. I was just like, this is a bit shit.
She was not feeling it. So I wrote down that they were weapons grade enormous scissors from the counter for no reason, because they are like comedy large.
Yeah.
And
I would say they were like dressmakers' scissors, but they were even bigger than that. They were like those ones you cut a ribbon with outside a new building.
Yeah, it was wild. Um, I wrote stab fest. Lindsay goes, "I'm so sorry," and Angela goes, "Not sorry enough." And then I wrote stab fest. Um, then I have Lindsay kicks Angela, and she goes down with a weird crunch. She rolls the
Mm.
body over, and the scissors are stabbed through Angela's heart. So I thought that the weird thing was we were supposed to be believing that those scissors were silver, but honestly, who the fuck would ever make scissors out of silver? Like, that's so dumb. So I didn't think that, but that's what we were supposed to think. And then
I didn't
Angela
think that
grabs
either.
Lindsay by the hair and pulls the scissors out, and then goes to stab her, but Dean shoots her. And then she super fast zombie runs through a window. And the best part of this scene, like, I have to basically agree with Laura here. The best part of the scene is Dean going, "Damn, that dead chick can run." But then my notes auto corrected and wrote down, "Damn, that dead chicken can run."
I love autocorrect things.
Autocorrect is amazing.
See, I had another flag with how Sam and Dean came in shooting her as well, because I was like, I don't think they would have done that. They literally shot her when she was standing in front of Lindsay. So, like, I don't know what bullets they're using, but some bullets can go right through one person and into another person, can't they? So
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think they would have done that. And it was just like the whole like fight choreography of this scene was just, it took me out of it. I was noticing all these weird things instead of like
Yeah.
focusing on the horror and the story.
Yeah. I'll grant you that the fight choreo was odd. Um, for me watching it, it was creepy, but it was very short as fight scene goes. It could
Mm.
have been kind of longer. It could have been a little bit freakier. So I think that those are really valid notes. And I think your rant stands. I validate this rant.
I haven't had a
So
big flag for a while. I was due.
yeah, no, you're a loud one. You're a loud one. So the next scene, Sam and Dean are in the car, and they talk about like how they would actually get rid of the zombie because shooting her with silver clearly didn't work. So Sam says, besides that, we have nailing the undead back into the grave beds. It's mentioned a few times. It's probably where the whole vampire staking lore came from. And that's actually accurate. Um, and then Dean's like, "Are you serious?" And Dean's like, "How the hell are we going to get her back into the cemetery?" And I wrote down in my notes, "This is like the magical equivalent of stay down, bitch."
Yeah.
Just staking them down into their graves and be like, "Stay. You stay.
Yeah.
Stay
I
dead."
was like, well, surely, you can stake someone into a coffin. Eventually, anyone would die in that situation.
Yeah. True. True. So this feels like the right place to tell you about the actual zombie lore for the episode. So we know that we're talking about ancient Greeks because it's mentioned in the episode. And I thought this is going to be trash. Once again, just like with the Viking stuff, I thought this is going to be trash. No. I went and I looked it up. The first article that I found says the origin of zombies. The ancient Greeks may have been the first civilization terrorized by a fear of the undead. Archaeologists have unearthed many ancient graves which contain skeletons pinned down by rocks and other heavy objects, assumedly to prevent the dead bodies from reanimating.
Hmm.
So, yeah, zombies and the fear of zombies, as far as we can tell, is actually Greek. So there's an
Huh.
archaeologist who wrote, "The dead were typically entreated by means of binding spells inscribed on thin sheets of lead." So we're talking about now the necromancy side of it and why they would pin people down into their graves. These spells called, I'm going to try, kata desmoi, were deposited in the graves during the nighttime ceremonies. Often petitioners sought to redress a wrong that had been committed, such as avenging a murder or returning a stolen inheritance. The kata desmoi were also used to gain an advantage in love or business.
Hmm.
So we know that Neil definitely resurrected her to be his love slave. Okay, so 10 out
Ugh.
of 10 gross. Neil is disgusting. Um, she also wrote, the archaeologist, The writings of ancient authors give us a glimpse into the minds and beliefs of the Greeks, and it is clear that many members of the society thought that the dead could roam the earth. Greeks imagined scenarios in which reanimated corpses rose from their graves, prowled the streets, and stalked unsuspecting victims, often to exact retribution denied to them in life. So, like, Angela comes after the people who hurt her and caused her death.
Yeah.
Even those who could not physically leave their tombs posed a threat because mediums could easily invoke restless spirits and cajole them into committing heinous acts. And that kind of backs up what Sam was talking about and Dean, where they talk about how they are not who they were in life and how those who are resurrected come back differently. So, like, the idea of zombies being terrifying and vengeful and all these different things seem to stem from these ancient Greek beliefs.
I did not know it had anything to do with the ancient Greeks. That's interesting.
Yeah, same. I really thought that that was going to be complete trash, but turns out no. So I have linked in my show notes a ton of zombie information for fun. So you guys can go and have a little bimble through that if you want to and see archaeological things. There's illustrations of skeletons that they found in ancient Greece with huge stones covering the entire body. Um, because of the way that the graves are laid out, they don't think that this was to prevent scavenging or other things. They literally think that this was to pin the corpse in place, and they were like, stay dead.
What if zombies had like super strength, so they wake up and then they can just be like, "Rah, pull the slab off me"?
That would be super unfortunate for whoever had like wronged that person in life.
Yeah.
So then they break into Neil's office at night, and he's sitting in the dark and he's looking kind of nervous. And Sam and Dean come in and he says, "What are you guys doing here?" And Dean says, "I've heard of people doing some pretty desperate things to get it laid, but you take the cake."
Yeah, doesn't he just?
Yeah. And Neil's like, "Okay, who are you guys?" Notice he doesn't deny it, right? He just says, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
His guilty conscience is giving him away. And Dean says, "You might want to ask Angela that question." And Neil says, "What?" And Sam says, "We know what you did. The ritual, everything." And Neil's like, "You're crazy." And this line is one of my favorites. Dean says, "Your girlfriend's past her expiration date and we're crazy." Oh, I love it. I love it so much. And then he says, "When someone's gone, they should stay gone," which is basically a direct quote from Pet Sematary. And he says, "You don't mess with that kind of stuff." And then when you think about Dean and the fact that he's been resurrected twice, we go,
Yeah.
he's definitely feeling his feelings, kind of.
Mhm.
And then Sam reveals that Angela has been killing people. And Neil's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And Dean, who's furious, hauls Neil up by the collar and says, "No more crap. His blood is on your hands. Now, me and him can make this right, but you've got to tell us where she is. Tell us." And Neil says, "She's at my house." Dean lets him go, and then he notices that there's a whole bunch of dead plants around, and he's like, And he's like, "Are you sure about that?" And Neil nods, and he looks around, and Dean clocks that she's probably hiding in the closet, and then he gets an idea, right? Okay, this is Dean's time to shine in this episode. He's a very clever boy. And he says, "Listen, it doesn't really matter where she is. There's only one way to stop her. We've got to perform another ritual over her grave to reverse the one that you did. We're going to need some black roots, some scarweed, some candles." I love that he invents scarweed. That was great. He's just trying to think of like scary sounding stuff. He says it's very complicated, but it gets the job done. I love him. He says she'll be dead again in a couple of hours. I think you should come with us. Significantly, like, he's like hinting, like, you need to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But Neil's an idiot. And Neil's like, no. And Dean's like, "I'm serious, Neil. Leave with us right now." And Neil just says no. And he says, Dean's whispering, "Listen to me. Get out of here as soon as you can, but most of all, be cool. No sudden moves. Don't make her mad." And then he and Sam leave. And then Neil's confronting Angela in the next scene, isn't he?
Mhm. He says he told her to stay at the house, and you can tell he's scared of her now, a little bit.
Yep.
And he looks at her, and sees one of her wounds and looks disgusted, like he's finally realised that she's dead and he's been kissing her, maybe more. And I wrote,
yeah.
Yeah, dude, well done. You're the one who brought her back to life because you can't get a girlfriend who's actually alive.
The ultimate incel.
She says she wants to stop Sam and Dean from performing the ritual, so she needs to get to the cemetery. And he's like, okay, I'll go get the car, stay here. And then he's just panicking, walking to the car. And I was like, he better just run off and like leave her. And then she obviously thinks he's going to do the same thing. So then she appears. I was like, were you going to leave me here? And I was like, yeah, bitch, of course he was. And then she gets angry and snaps his neck.
I wrote, Neil realizes this is Pet Cemetery. And then Angela can't catch a break, so she breaks Neil's neck.
Yeah, it was, weird.
Because Angela's not the villain. Angela's like a victim so many times over. She's victimized by her friend who knows that she loves her boyfriend but sleeps with him anyway. She's victimized by her boyfriend who sleeps with her friend / roommate, which like that's beyond the pale. Because that makes everything so much worse. Like you'd have to move out to get away from that shit. And then her best friend actually isn't her best friend. He's a manipulating weirdo who resurrects her from the dead. She can't even die in peace because he wants to fuck her. So he resurrects her to make her his zombie bride or whatever. And I think that her thinking that she's in love with him is part of the spell, because her attitude towards him changes so dramatically from like living Angela to dead Angela that I have to believe it's part of the spell. And so when I was like, Angela can't catch breaks, so she breaks Neil's neck, I was just like, I really felt that. She's been done so dirty, and good for her, you know, snap that neck.
So Sam and Dean are at Angela's grave, and they're lighting candles to create a lovely ambiance.
Ambiance.
I was like, why are they lighting candles? Well, I suppose it's because they're pretending it's a ritual, aren't they?
Oh yeah, because it's Dean's fake. It's his brilliant trap. Yeah.
Yeah. And they hear something, and Sam gets his gun out and goes to check it out, and he looks hot there when he's drawing. He's like walking through the trees with his gun drawn. That bit was hot.
Yeah. I wrote down this same thirst trap. And then Angela creeps up behind Sam, and it's this classic "it's behind you" monster shot where he's clear and he's in the foreground, and she's just kind of slightly blurring out of focus, but like right over his shoulder behind him. And then Sam realizes, turns, Angela's advancing towards him, and he points the gun at Angela, and she stops and she says, wait, it's not what you think. I didn't ask to be brought back, but it's still me. I'm still a person, please. And I really felt for her in that. Like, I understand she's the bad guy in this episode, but she's been so used. I felt for her. And then Sam shoots her in the head.
Yeah, but she's not a person, though, is she? She's a zombie.
Yeah. So she screams and is enraged. And then Angela chases after him because he runs the fuck away because he's like, oh no.
I liked it because it was kind of like
he
was like, we'll try the headshot thing, but oh no, it didn't work.
Yeah, and then oh fuck. So then he runs away and she takes him down. He almost gets to where he's leading to her to, but like just not quite. And she starts grabbing his head, like she's gonna twist it all the way around and break his neck. Yeah. But then Dean starts shooting at her. That part's really scary. But then I wrote down, this was a zombie relay race to the grave. It's a zombie relay race. So then Dean manages to shoot her into her grave, and he fucking pulls out this giant silver stake. Like, it's borderline sword-sized. And then dives in and stabs her. And Angela's like, wait, don't. And that part's really, like, kind of scary and grim. And but he just, like, looks at her, and it's, like, Psycho Killer Dean, and then he just stabs it all the way through. And he says, what's dead should stay dead. And that was creepy.
Yeah. I thought it was very convenient that she falls right into the grave.
They have good aim, you know? They have amazing aim. Their zombie leading skills are on point. Yeah, so we cut to the graveyard in the morning, and Sam and Dean are patting the dirt down over the grave, and I wrote thirst trap because it's hot.
Well, I wrote, that's nice and inconspicuous.
That's a fair point. It's a fair point.
It's like the middle of the morning, like bright daylight, and they're leaving
They could be grave diggers. This could be their job.
Yeah, but they've
Maybe.
left a really obvious rectangle area of loose dirt, so people are going to go, what's happened here? Someone's dug up this grave.
They're just bad at their jobs. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is the scene where in the outtakes where Jared rips his jeans. Because they're in the graveyard and they're wearing the exact same outfits, and he wiggles his butt at the camera dramatically, doesn't he? And then his jeans split open and he doesn't know what to do with himself, and he runs away through the graves like a gazelle. It's so funny.
That is a funny outtake.
Oh god, it's so funny, you guys. If you haven't seen that, that's on our Instagram page. So, basically, they have a conversation, and Sam says, you know, that whole fake ritual thing, luring Angela into the cemetery was pretty sharp, and Dean says, thanks. And Sam says, but did we have to use me as bait? And Dean says, I figured you were more her type. You know, she had pretty crappy taste in guys. And I thought that was so funny. And then Laura's behind the scenes from the other episode comes here, because then he says, I think she broke my hand.
Yeah.
And he's like favoring his arm at this point, and we go, oh no, poor Jared, because his arm is broken, isn't it?
There's a bit where he gets in the car at the end and he's like not touching anything with his hand, and I was like, that must have been when it was really hurting. Because last episode I found out that he had actually broken his hand filming a stunt on episode 3, but didn't realise until halfway through this episode, so they couldn't like do anything about it until they finished, and they put this line in so that he can wear a cast for the next couple of episodes. Also, I would just like to point out that there was a Sam thirst trap when they're walking off, when he's got his shovel over his shoulder and they're walking along and his hair's all dishevelled.
That is a thirst trap. You are correct. So they look at Mary's grave and they pause, and Sam says, do you want to stay for a while? And Dean says no. And then they walk over to the car, put the stuff in the trunk, and drive out. And then we're on the highway, and Dean's driving, but he's like, his face looks really serious, and Sam's looking pretty concerned. And then Dean, without any real warning, just kind of pulls the car over, and he gets out and he just kind of walks out of the car. And Sam's like, Dean, what is it? And Dean says, I'm sorry. And Sam says, for what? And Dean says, the way I've been acting. So Sam crosses to sit on the hood next to him, and he says, and for Dad. I mean, he was your dad too, and it's my fault that he's gone. And Sam's like, what are you talking about? And Dean says, I know you've been thinking it. So have I. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Back at the hospital, I made a full recovery. It was a miracle. And 5 minutes later, Dad's dead and the cult's gone. Sam goes, Dean. And Dean's like, you can't tell me there's not a connection there. I don't know how the demon was involved. I don't know how the whole thing went down exactly, but Dad's dead because of me, and that much I do know. And Sam says, we don't know that, not for sure. And Dean says, Sam. And then he starts crying. He says, you and Dad, you're the most important people in my life. And now, I never should have come back, Sam. It wasn't natural. And now look at what's come of it. I was dead, and I should have stayed dead. You wanted to know how I was feeling. Well, that's it. And Sam nods. And he says, so tell me, what could you possibly say to make that all right? And he's crying, and Sam's kind of crying, and Sam looks away, and Dean looks away, and it's so sad. And then the camera kind of pans out to this greater distance of the two of them just looking kind of small, sitting on the hood against the rest of the world, and then it's the end of the episode.
I liked Dean's one little tear at the end. I just wanted to give him a hug.
I know, he's so beautiful and so sad and so broken. And it's just,
yeah.
I wrote down that he has survivor's guilt, but worse because it's the Hunter's edition. So it's supernatural survivor's guilt.
Yeah. This has left me with some questions though, because you know how my theory about what John had whispered to Dean, well, it obviously wasn't that he was going to sacrifice himself, because he has kind of worked that out. He obviously wasn't told that.
Yeah.
So now that leaves me with my only other theory, which was that I think he was definitely telling Dean what he knows about Sam.
Mm-hmm.
That's my theory now.
That's a solid theory.
But we still don't know what that is. Well, yeah. I don't.
So you do find out in this season. I don't think it's all that many episodes down the road either. I think we're going to come to it pretty soon.
Okay. Part of me is like, do I want to know?
John Winchester fuckery. The motel, I rated it a 10 out of 10.
Oh. Was there any reasons for that?
It's so pretty. It's so pretty. It looks so gothic. It's like dark with black lace decals on it. Everything inside of it is spooky. It looks like really gothic, like actually gothic, like it's inside of an old Victorian manor or something. I love it. This is my favorite one so far.
I totally didn't even notice that. I'm gonna have to look again. I didn't notice it because it wasn't themed, so
yeah. What was your scare rating for this episode? I bet it's low as hell.
2. I bet it wasn't scary.
9.5.
I bet not scary, just stupid. Yours to 9.5.
9.5 because Neil was really creepy. There's so much emotional tension in this episode between Dean and Sam, and Dean is like breaking my heart. And I'm scared of zombies. So yeah 9.5 from me. What about what was your thirst trap of the episode?
Sam looking disheveled with the shovel at the end.
Disheveled with the shovel, I like that.
Disheveled with the shovel.
Yeah. Mine was smart Dean figuring out like what the symbols mean and working stuff out. That was my thirst trap.
We didn't do villain hot or not. We usually start with that.
Matt, I put down that Matt is the villain of the episode for me. And that he's a hot villain. Neil is not a hot villain, who's the other villain of the episode. They're like, the guys are definitely the villains of the episode because Angela's a victim, not a villain. So
well, I counted her as a villain and Neil.
I have put Matt and Neil. So I wrote down that Matt is the hot villain. He checks my box for a hot villain. He's kind of a Chad hot villain, but yeah.
Well, I put Angela, no, she's dead, and Neil, no.
What was your favorite quote of this episode?
Well, I think we're going to have the same one. I have got a backup.
Okay. So, I wrote down a backup because I thought we were going to fight about stuff.
Yeah. I think the one that we're going to fight about is the Neil, it's your grief counsellors. We've come to hug.
That was so good.
My backup was Sam saying, "Our lives are weird, man."
I love that. That one's so good too. My backups were your girlfriend's past her expiration date and awkward.
Oh yeah, awkward was good. Did you have the "We've come to hug" as your first one then as well?
Yeah.
Was that both our favourites? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an MVP? I didn't write anything down for this.
I don't know if there wasn't. I don't think there was one for this episode. No one was the most valuable player here.
No, I don't think there was either. I was giving it a question mark.
Yeah. Not really.
Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Do you have any to just close everything down and say goodbye to the guys? Do you have anything that you're thinking about Sam's powers or like what might be coming up next in the next few episodes?
Oh yeah, he didn't have his powers again this episode, did he? It's hard to keep track.
He was so useless.
So useless. I don't know. I haven't even looked at what the next episode title is. So I've forgotten what his powers are. He doesn't use them very often. He's like psychic.
Yeah, psychic Wonder Boy. and telekinesis on one occasion.
No, I don't really have any predictions. I don't really know. What's the next episode title? Do you know?
So the next episode is called Simon Said.
Oh. Yeah, I've got an idea what that's going to be about.
I will tell you that I think Simon Said is one of the freakier episodes of just in general.
Like actually scary.
Like, it's not
like
so
weird?
Much scary as it is just like freaky. Like, it's more psychological, I think, than anything else. It's more of like I would call it more of a psychological drama. But there's elements of Monster of the Week in it to a degree too, which is cool. And we get more storyline details.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds better than this one.
Okay. On that note of this one being our new Phantom Traveler, you guys, let's say goodbye and catch you in the next one.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.